Hi, how's it going? I'm Vince Buscemi. This is Tracy Turner.
I'm Tracy Turner.
From the Carroll Tech Council, and we are putting on Ignite Carroll. This is the first one of its kind here. We're at the Carroll Arts Center here in Westminster, Maryland, and we have a fantastic show in store tonight. We have 10 presenters with topics ranging from lessons learned in ice hockey to competing in pipe bands, using medical apps for cancer treatment, all kinds of presentations. And the way that this works is that each presenter has 20 slides that auto-advance every 15 seconds for a total of 5 minutes. That's it. There's no stopping. There's no, hey, wait, pause. You know, I'm trying to catch up. Okay, it's go time. So 5 minutes to do whatever you can to show and share your passion with all of us. Talk about personal experiences, professional ones, you name it. We have it all tonight. So we're really excited. Can't wait to have this thing kicked off, and we're just happy to be here. Hello, Carroll County. Yes. What's up, Westminster? It's kind of surreal right now that I see the Ignite logo and Carroll there, and to know that this is now the second successful Ignite in Maryland. Something to be proud about here. So I'd like to welcome everybody. I'm so glad that you're here, and you're in for a real treat. I hope maybe that you've checked out some other Ignite presentations, looked at the videos to kind of get used to it, but if not, I'm going to kind of quickly hit on what to expect and kind of how to go about the evening. So on the previous screen, real quick, Josh, I just wanted to point out, we love sharing. Please share if you're on Twitter. We're at Ignite Carroll, hashtag Ignite Carroll. I'm sure the other presenters would love for you to look them up and add them to your list and to share them with all of your networks. So please do that. That's cool with us. Next slide, Josh. All right, we have two event sponsors tonight, and we're going to get them to talk a little in a bit, but the event organizers, really the Carroll Tech Council. The Carroll Tech Council, yeah, big... So the Carroll Tech Council has been going real strong now for a number of years, and it's growing exponentially. There's a ton of business in this area, and not a lot of people know that, but we need to let them know that. The Tech Council is helping along with that. So I am the chairperson of the Education Committee within the Tech Council, and over the last few years, the council has put on these educational series to talk mostly about tech. And in the past year, we've had some really, really successful programs that we've opened up to the entire community. And that's really what started this idea, that we wanted something that engaged the entire community, that wasn't just technology, but utilized technology, and taught people more about ways in which we can use technology or just get excited about things that we maybe wouldn't have gotten excited about before. So I have to thank all of the organizers that are on my council. And if we could just give everyone a big round of a hand real quick for me. I'd like to just shout out the administrator of the Tech Council, Tracy Turner. We have Denise Beaver coming up. Tracy's in the back. Josh Cohn is running the board. So if things kind of get all messed up, you can blame the four of us, okay? Mostly Josh, though, I think. All right, if you want to scream at me, I'm on Twitter at Vince Buscemi. That's my name. I probably didn't even say, hey, I'm Vince Buscemi. Hey, I'm Vince Buscemi, everyone. Some of you know me, some of you don't. You will definitely know me by the end of the night. I promise you that. All right, next. Because this is kind of sponsored by and organized by the Tech Council, we have a special invite to non-Tech Council members. Anyone attending tonight is able to get a free month off of your paid membership. And the rates are up there. I won't get into all of them. And if you are a business owner and you have more than one employee here that are a paid ticket holder, you can get up to 2 months off the next year of the Tech Council. There's a tremendous amount of events and knowledge and meetings that go on with the Tech Council, and it's really great to be more involved in our community. No, it's not all tech-heavy talk. There's a lot of other talk as well. So I really encourage everyone to consider that. And again, if you do have your ticket, either sign up tonight or sign up tomorrow on the website. Let us know that you are here. and we'll take care of it for you. And I'm sure that you're going to learn an awful lot more than you probably would have expected. So what is Ignite? Ignite is, well, it kind of started as a geek event, okay? So it was kind of hipsters and techies and artists that got together to give these really quick, short presentations. And the theme of Ignite is enlighten us, but make it quick. So, these presenters that you will see tonight are going to share their passion for both professional and personal topics, okay? We have a wide range of topics tonight. I'm sure every single one of you will learn something. You won't expect it, and it probably will be the presentation that you least expect for sure, but I guarantee you're going to learn a lot tonight. How does it work? Well, the presenters have 20 slides, and each one auto-advances every 15 seconds. That totals 5 minutes. So they have to give a lightning-quick presentation in 5 minutes with the slides auto-advancing. All right, so this is a challenge. Some may look and check out the screen here. Some may work completely off of memory. Some may have no cards. It doesn't matter. It's their presentation. It's their 5 minutes. If you had that, what would you say, right? So for the speakers, yes, the slides auto-advance. No, you may not ask me to stop them. Josh, do not let anyone stop. If you do stumble, it's okay. Take that deep breath, collect your thoughts, and move on. Just finish the presentation. If you're all super excited like me and you talk really, really fast and you end, guess what? The presentation's still going to go on. So if you walk off the stage, that's all part of your presentation. That's what to expect tonight for the speakers, okay? So just relax, have a great time, and tell us your passion, all right, whatever it might be. Now, for the audience. Cell phones, please, right now, everybody, turn them on silence. No, this is not an airplane, and you don't need to turn them off completely. We want you sharing the information. We want you taking pictures. Just keep the flash off. Take video. That's cool, too. We're going to be taking video tonight. We're going to be posting them on our website, probably YouTube channel, and sharing them with the Ignite Show website as well. Be supportive, no matter what happens. All right, whether it's something that you're not interested in, or if you know it's something that you just don't care about, just be supportive. We're all in this together. We're here to have a good time. All right, so just lots of loud clapping and applaud for everyone. Sit back, relax, and enjoy the Ignite Show. All right. Next up, we have our first main sponsor, and we'd like to allow them a brief moment to talk to you. So our first sponsor is Carroll County Economic Development, and I'd like to welcome Denise Beaver up on stage.
Thank you, Vince. It's great to be a sponsor of the inaugural event here, and we're really pleased that this is the first Ignite Carroll in Westminster. We hope that there'll be many more and that you'll come back again. I just wanted to take a few minutes to tell you a little bit about economic development and how we feel that we ignite Carroll County. And we do that through innovation. We have an Enterprise Carroll program that's for existing businesses, and it's in target industries, and if they're advancing opportunities to grow and looking at new markets or having new technologies that they're employing, they can apply for matching investment funds from our Enterprise Carroll program. We also advance and ignite Carroll County through our great business climate. The Board of Commissioners has done a great job to reduce business regulations. They've reduced taxes. We have an award-winning school system. We have safe, affordable communities, and we have low-cost alternatives for business locations, and all of this in a tech-rich region. And so we have a great business climate here, and we work really hard to maintain that. Another way that we ignite Carroll County is through new business formation. We formed the first Carroll Business Path consortium of partners, Josh, And basically that consortium, a new partner is Carroll Technology Council. We also work with the Miller Center at Carroll Community College. Of course, economic development. We have the Chamber of Commerce. And we also have the Maryland Small Business and Technology Development Center. All of these entities work together to support business. We're creating an ecosystem for business startup. We do that through one-on-one intensive counseling. We have a lot of free training options for business owners, as well as low-cost training options. We put together a lot of business development programs and services so that we can help businesses to grow in Carroll County through our Carroll Business Path. We ignite Carroll County through industry expansion and relocation. And one of our big projects that was a great save here in Carroll County over the last year, their Kenora Brake Corporation is investing $20 million in building a new facility out on Maryland 97. That project saved 230 jobs, and we'll have another 60 jobs probably over the next few years. They're building a state-of-the-art manufacturing facility that will be a showcase for their mass transit braking systems right here in Westminster. So that's another thing that we do to help ignite Carroll County. The next thing we do is technology development. I don't know if you know or not, but Carroll County is building a fiber optic network. We have 112 miles that's planned to build throughout the county. Right now, the network is servicing our public schools, our government offices, our public libraries, higher education, and emergency services. And we're saving over $500,000 a year already with that network. Well, soon we're going to be able to connect that network and allow service providers, internet service providers, to lease that fiber and bring it into other homes and businesses throughout the county where we don't have service right now. So we're investing in technology development. The last thing that we do to ignite Carroll County is invest in our workforce. We have the Business and Employment Resource Center. It's one of the top performing workforce centers in the state. And we have thousands of people each year come to our center. We help them with job search assistance. We also help them with career counseling and training. So we help people find jobs. The other thing we do for employers is we help them to find good qualified people. We do recruitment fairs, we do assessments for employees, and we also work with employers on training. So all of those things we do to help ignite Carroll County and encourage certainly the Tech Council to have this event tonight. We're really pleased to be a sponsor, and I hope you have a great evening.
All right, thank you, Denise, and thank you to the Carroll County Economic Development. I would like to just make a quick announcement that the Tech Council and Ignite Carroll would like to welcome a very distinguished guest tonight. We have Commissioner Robin Frazier is here tonight. So if we could just give a round of applause to our Commissioner supporting us here, showing the Commissioner that we're here to ignite Carroll in a multitude of different ways. So I think we're ready to go. Josh, is there one more? All right, just checking. So, presenters, one last bit of note here. So, when I get done giving your introduction and I invite you up, all right, just give Josh, who will be running the slides on time, just a little nod or a point whenever you're ready to go, and your presentation will start up, and as soon as you see that first slide of yours, that's when the 15-second timer goes and you're off. All right, let's get started. Our first speaker is an Ignite Baltimore veteran. We're very, very, very happy to have him here. Ron Schmelzer is a parallel entrepreneur, having started and sold a number of successful companies. Ron is currently founder and CEO at Bezzello? All right, a software-as-a-service company focused on small business apps, and the chief organizer and instigator behind the Tech Breakfast, the largest monthly morning tech meetup in Maryland. The companies Ron has started and run have collectively employed over 300 people, raised over $60 million in venture funding, and seen exits in the multiple millions. He founded Channel Wave, sold in 2005, ZapThink, sold in 2011, and he also started and failed at an apparel company called ZopTops. But that's a whole nother story for a different time, right, Ron? Without further ado, Ron Schmelzer with the virtues of failure.
All right, Ignite rocks, woohoo! So, well, one of the great things about being the first presentation and being a presentation about failure is I have nothing to lose. So, So I'll keep it simple. We'll have a lot of fun. So guess we're ready to kick things off. So I want to start by giving you a couple of quotes here and also showing you a couple of pictures. And some of you may recognize some of these photos because some of these photos are from the Fail blog, which is a very popular online blog that shows you all the great images of people failing. And one of the great things we like about the Fail blog is that we look at them and say, there, but the grace of God go I. So let's start a little bit. I mean, Winston Churchill said that success consists of going from failure to failure without loss of enthusiasm. And that's, I think, really the great idea about failures. We love to learn and we love failure. But there are many industries that are built on failure. The consumer packaged goods industry is a great example of an industry that's based on failure. You know, we all know about New Coke. But if you look at all of these products that Pepsi and Coke have put out, the one thing they realize is that only through failure do they actually learn what people are actually interested in. And I think one of the things that we realize is that failure is not only normal but natural. I mean, that's how kids learn, that's how babies learn, but that's also how nature works. That's the whole theory of evolution, is trial and error, trying things out and failing, and that's actually just part of nature. And so one of the things that we learn is that you can't really have breakthroughs if you don't embrace and enjoy failure. As they say, you can't make an omelet without breaking eggs. So one of the things we need to learn is like, well, how do we learn to embrace failure, and what's so great about failure? Well, a lot of the great innovations have certainly come from need, but a lot of stuff has been totally accidental. The microwave, penicillin, most of the sweeteners we have, brandy, these are all things that have come from people saying, oh, we made a mistake, but wait, there's something that is useful that can come out of this mistake. And so one of the things that we should learn is that if we want to embrace failure, we have to basically learn to take smaller steps, right? Take smaller steps because you don't want to make huge mistakes. You want to basically make smaller mistakes so that you can learn from them. And this slide here is an image from the software industry really has learned how to embrace failure. Technology has been moving very, 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 very fast, almost too fast. So the whole lean startup methodology, customer development methodology is about taking a bunch of little steps, learning from them, and iterating. So we learned from this that there's really a bunch of things. We want to learn how to fail fast, which means iterate quickly. We want to be able to fail cheap, which means make smaller bets, not big bets. We want to fail often, which means don't take 6 months to learn, take a short amount to learn, and we want to fail cheap. And you know, it took a long time for many industries to learn how to fail. I mean, we have Webvan, which is a big notable failure in the dot-com industry, but Apollo 1 was a huge learning disaster for NASA. Before then, they actually had a culture where they did not want to embrace failure, and we all know what happened with Apollo 1. They learned a lot about failure. And so what we learned is that, you know, failure only works if we learn from it, right? And so we need to figure out, like, well, how do we take the things that come out of failure, the trial and error parts, the parts that aren't fatal, and learn from it? And Dr. Evelyn Crone at the Leiden University, they did a brain study, and they saw that in adults, the brain is actually more active when you're learning from negative feedback. For those that are between 1 and 3 years old, actually the brain is more active when you're getting positive feedback. But that means that our brain doesn't actually learn at all. These are great images, right? So if your brain is not learning when you're failing, you have to know when you're failing. And you might think, it's like, well, it's obvious to know when we're failing, right? But actually, the brain conspires against you to learn when you're failing. And a lot of the biggest failures, like communism, Enron, the Polaroid, Lehman Brothers, it's because you have this thing called confirmation bias. You are biased against looking at the very signs that are pointing you at failure. They're telling you about failure, and you're just ignoring those things. And so it turns out that the better you are at learning how to deal with failure, the greater you have the ability to succeed. And so what you'll see is that the people who are like the biggest successes, they don't talk about their successes. They spend most of their time talking about their failures and how they learn from them and the process. We all know about Thomas Edison and his 1,000 light bulbs, but you probably don't know that Michael Jordan was cut from his high school basketball team. He said that was his biggest learning moment. And of course, there's the famous story of the fellow in the Mexican 1968 Olympics who took 2 days to complete the marathon. That's because they said they didn't pay him to start it. They told him to finish it. So one of the things about failure is that when you fail and you learn, it's better than not having tried at all, as they like to say. But part of it is that when we are conditioned in certain parts of society to fear failure. Why? Because of the physical pain of failure, or maybe the confirmation bias I talked about, humiliation or embarrassment. But the truth of the matter is that when you develop calluses against failure, you learn to actually embrace failure. And by embracing failure, you actually make success sweeter. You learn how to become more successful. You actually you try to actually seek failure. Like, I don't want to know what the comfort is. Give me the thing that's the hardest, and I'm going to try that, and if I fail, then let me figure that out. So success is sweeter. I mean, I live in Baltimore now, but I'm originally from Chicago and Boston, and we've had a lot of failed sports teams, and we've had some sweet years, let me tell you. It was tough, this Ravens-Patriots game. But, hey, Ravens came out. Either way, right? I couldn't lose on that one. So I think one of the things I want to finish out here is this talk actually really failed because it wasn't a talk about failure at all, was it? This was really a talk about success. So the one thing I hope you get out of this is to learn that failure and learning how to learn from failure is really the best way that you can be successful. So I wish you a lot of failure in your future.
Thank you so much for breaking the ice and kicking that off. The slides do go by pretty fast, don't they? All right. Next up, we have Alyssa Harrington. Alyssa is a former elementary school teacher turned techie. I love that. Alyssa is recognized for her ability to teach complex technology concepts to the non-technical. Technology and education have been her passion for nearly 20 years. Alyssa is currently an instructional designer for graduate and professional studies at Stevenson University. And tonight she will be presenting a smart approach to cancer, how one woman is using apps to cope with her cancer diagnosis. Please welcome Alyssa Harrington.
Okay, if I fail, it's going to be okay, right? So, okay, Josh, I'm giving you the nod. Okay, so there are dates that you can remember right off the top of your head, your birthday, your children's birthday, your anniversary. But for me, September 28th, 2012 is a day I'll never forget. It was the day I got the phone call and heard the words that you have cancer. So at that moment, I kind of doodled on the notepad that was at my office desk in front of me and thought, what did I do wrong? I run, I eat my broccoli, I breastfed my kids, I did all those things that, were supposed to keep you from getting breast cancer. And so I, thought deeply about, what could I have done to prevent this? Well, it turns out after I met with my surgeon that really there's not a whole lot. There's no way to pinpoint it. 1 in 8 women will get breast cancer, and it's not genetic. It doesn't have to be genetic. You don't have to be over 40. It can happen to anybody. It doesn't discriminate. So whether I liked it or not, I was enrolled in what's called Cancer 101, right? So I became part of this vocabulary here that was thrown at me, and I had to learn really quickly what all those words in my pathology report meant. And so I kind of felt like that lady right there, and feeling a little overwhelmed. And my family and friends meant well, and they were sharing ideas with me and giving me their input about what they thought my treatment should be for me. And I kind of felt like, wow, where do I go from here? This is all so overwhelming. I'm a planner by nature. This was not in my plan, and losing my hair is not in my plan. Thank you. So I decided to take it a step at a time and do one thing that I know I can do well, which is technology. So I turned to technology, and I figured, if I can't control the cancer, I can control how I choose to deal with it. So cancer, is there an app for that? Well, heck yeah, there's a couple things out there. So I think getting educated and knowing all the facts about whatever your diagnosis may be makes everything a little less fearful. So the MedWords app was really helpful for me. It gave me straight up, easy to understand definitions of words that were in my pathology report. My Medical is an app that I use because I think maintaining and management of the appointments and your prescriptions can also be overwhelming. This app does everything for me, and you can actually build a profile not just for yourself, but for your entire family as well. WorldCard Mobile is awesome. I found throughout my journey here that I've met tons of doctors and made lots of contacts, and with a click of my camera on my phone, I can capture the information of a business card and have it immediately added to my contacts, which is awesome. My big find was iChemo Diary, which I use each day to journal how I'm feeling, my symptoms. And the powerful tool with this app is that it allows you, with the press of a button, to generate a report to your doctor, and they can track how you're doing with your treatment instantly. Evernote is a Swiss Army app. I love this app. It allows you to hold all your documents. I store my pathology report in here. All my information is right in the palm of my hand, and it syncs across multiple devices, which is really nice. Twitter, great place to be. I hope you guys are tweeting about Ignite tonight, and I use it to stay current with latest research in breast cancer and events that are happening in my area, and I've made a few new friends along the way, which certainly doesn't hurt. Pinterest is not just recipes and crafts. I think you'd be surprised to find, for business or even for chemo patients, the amount of resources and cancer patients that are out there. Patients are sharing all sorts of ideas, from head coverings to books to inspirational quotes. So it's a great place to be. Keeping up with communication with family and friends is another big stressor, and I found that if I just reworked the way I was using Facebook, that I can use the filter, the list filter, and pinpoint my audience to keep them current on what's going on in my life. Chemo brain happens. I've become really forgetful, and so there's a great app called Brain Trainer that allows me, through a series of games and exercises, to keep my brain sharp and in focus. And finally, if you know me, you know relaxing is not in my vocabulary. I hear the chuckles. And so it's crucial when you're going through treatment to relax. So Relax Melodies is a great app that allows me to set up tunes, that white noise, that allow me to relax when I need it most, or just take a mental break in my day. And Runkeeper, I can't stress how important it is to exercise and to maintain a good, healthy lifestyle, whether it's biking, walking, or running. Runkeeper will track all your daily activities, and you can even post it on Facebook to get the encouragement that you need. So maybe I've inspired you with a few of my apps, and if you feel brave and you want to go out and search for some apps of your own, here's some tips. The most important being number 3 there, that you just make sure you're choosing an app that gets updated regularly. And I leave you with this quote, and if there's one thing I've learned since that day, September 28th, 2012, it's that to remain focused and to feel and control what you can control, and just keep moving forward and remain positive. Thank you.
Excellent job, Alyssa. All right. Next up is Dawn Mead. Dawn is an audiovisual industry professional with over 20 years' experience in marketing, advertising, and web design, with a primary focus on technology and AV. She holds Certified Technology Specialist designation from Infocom International and recently completed a dual master's degree program from the University of Maryland, earning a Master's of Science in Technology Management, Information Systems, and an MBA at the same time. Dawn is a well-known AV tech blogger and social media personality known online as AV Dawn. She is a founding member of AV Nation and sits on their advisory board, as well as appearing frequently on their AV Week and AV Social podcast. In addition to her own blog, avdawn.com, she is a columnist and member of the Rave Publications blog squad. I said I was going to trip up there. A member of Technorati blog critics, Wave, which is Women in AV, and DC Web Women. She rather enjoys the notoriety of being at AV Dawn, but is still amazed when she is recognized as such at industry events. She lives in Eldersburg with her husband, Mr. AV Dawn. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Dawn Mead and Adventures in Personal Branding.
Just give me a second. All right. Have you ever been recognized in public? There you are, just minding your own business, walking along through a crowd, and suddenly you think you hear your name. And then it happens again, and again, and again, and suddenly you realize, oh my gosh, I think I'm kind of famous. Good evening, my name is Dawn Mead, and this actually happened to me in 2011 at a trade show in my industry, audiovisual systems, that was attended by 30,000 other AV professionals. Of course, in the industry, I am known as AV Dawn, the name that was being called out by the crowd. So who's AV Dawn? How did she become famous, at least in her industry, and why do you care? Well, I'm gonna tell you, I invented AV Dawn, And I can tell you how I use social media to build a reputation and how you can too. Think about real estate, arts and crafts, the media, religion. I bet none of you here can actually say the real name of the companies of any of these people or the denomination of that guy on the end, but you know who they are, and that's personal branding. Personal branding is identifying what makes you unique and what you have to offer. A strong and authentic personal brand helps you get known for what you do and can give you expert status, theoretically. So when you're a little fish in your industry, it's hard to compete against the big guys, and you need to find a way to stand out and differentiate yourself. In AV, with my little company, I decided that expertise would be our unique selling proposition. And I started using social media to prove that while the other guys are good, we're the authority. So I chose the name AV Dawn. It's short, it's catchy, it says who I am, and it says what I do. Once I settled on the name, I bought the URL and put the name and reserved the name on as many different social networks as possible. Then I started blogging at avdawn.com. I expressed my views in the industry, wasn't afraid to take a stand, and started using that name in all of my email correspondence. I tweeted as AV Dawn and took part in a lot of industry events like AV Chat as AV Dawn. I also got business cards made with my name and even created a webcomic. Once I did all of this, to prove that I was fun, of course, once I did all of this, I started using the cards professionally. And the real coup happened at an industry trade show when I stopped to ask the keynote speaker a question and gave him my cards, and he said, "Oh my gosh, you're AV Dawn. We need to talk, come with me." That keynote speaker was Gary Kay, who's the founder of Rave Publications and one of the big media names in the AV industry. And he wanted AV Dawn to write for his blog squad. Well, I started writing for him 2 years ago, and that led to an advisory board spot on AV Nation, a podcasting group in our industry. Today I sit on their board, I appear on their AV Week show, and I just became the new host of their AV Social show. Look us up on iTunes. So I started all of this when I was with a small company in Owings Mills, and when I left that company, I needed a way to differentiate myself from others. Oops, I skipped a slide. Well, all of these events helped spread the word of AV Dawn. I'll go back. And once you start spreading the word of your personal brand, more opportunities will come your way, whether they're magazine articles or speaking possibilities. And so I left the company in Owings Mills, and having a personal brand like AV Dawn was incredibly helpful during my job search. And just a quick Google of personal branding found all of these references of how you can use personal branding to find a job. And in today's job market, you really need a way to stand out. So personal branding is a way to help. Online is important for establishing a personal brand, but no online social media can do anything without actual personal connections. You want to go to tweet-ups if you're a Twitter person, and you want to make the connections in traditional networking ways and build on those relationships, because if I hadn't met Gary in person, I never would have wrote for Rave. If I hadn't known Vince or come to a tech council thing, I never would have been here speaking, for better or for worse. So, in addition to having good relationships in real life, you want to have a good relationship with your family before you embark on a personal brand. This is my husband, Harry, and when he started his new job, he was putting that picture on his desk in his cube, and one of his coworkers came by and said, "Oh my God, you have a picture of AV Dawn in your cube." He was in the industry for a long time before I was. And so now he's known on Twitter and in our industry as Mr. AV Dawn. He's appeared on several podcasts as that. So basically, in this era of media and social networking and communications, it's really easy to get caught up in the tech of it all. But at the end of the day, you want to be yourself, you want to be authentic, and you just want to get out there and establish yourself as someone unique. If you're willing to put yourself out there with networking, volunteering, and social activities, you can find success with personal branding too. Just don't be surprised when you start getting recognized in public. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Dawn. How's everybody doing tonight? Still hanging in there? You doing a lot of tweeting? Oh, that reminds me, I gotta start tweeting. Hold on. Holy crap, I'm hosting Ignite Carroll. Oh, that's too dark. All right. Next up, we have Matthew Holbert. Since graduating from Westminster High School in 2007, his passion has been to study history, philosophy, science, and psychology. He has acquired a general interest in the human being and in life as a general phenomenon. His life's work, his words, not mine, his life's work has been to redefine the box, reordering it to fit the human being so that our daily lives can fit in harmony with nature rather than the glowing box. Please, Matt, we all want to know about the glowing box. Please help me welcome Matt Holbert with Education, Replacing the Failed System and Developing the Mind. Matt?
Hello. Thank you to the Ignite Carroll staff and everybody who's in attendance here tonight. As he said, my subject is education. All right. Next slide, please. All right. Meet Tracy. She's an infant in a world that really cares about education and takes it seriously. In her world, education starts at infancy. When she's just 3 months old, she's going to begin learning a new language. At this stage in her development, her young brain is more capable of internalizing a language than ever before in her life, so it stands to reason that linguistic education would begin at such a fertile stage. A world that takes education seriously would recognize that education is the foundation of freedom, liberty, and true civilization. Empowered by superior education rather than superior military force, a civilized world applies knowledge scientifically derived in order to improve standards of life, liberty, and happiness. Grounding their resources in the roots of education and their economy in the fruits of education, a school system becomes a center for local production and consumption, full circle replacing the mall and all it stands for. Those employed by the education system are rewarded like doctors and athletes of today, thus increasing the incentive to be a part of the system. At infancy, Tracy's teacher is none other than Susanna, a Spanish-speaking grandmother with minimal to no education and virtually no education experience. She has no degree from any college, yet she is able to perform a valid role in the school system and get satisfaction from serving her community because she fits two simple requirements. She has no criminal background, and she speaks a language primary that is not English. Susanna will cradle little Tracy in her arms for an hour, speaking to her for the entire duration, and then when Susanna sees the hour is up, she will begin cradling another infant. At infancy, it truly should be the standard that a child hears and listens to another language from not only one person, but from a family of foreign-speaking people. Something as simple as housing foreign-speaking families, perhaps families in need, and reapplying those forces towards educating infants will reorganize an economic structure. Improving lives and even paying them additionally for cultivating an organic farm located on the premises of the school. Based on information and evidence of ecological and social improvement, the reward system is based on reciprocation to the environment and that school demonstrates. This very practice is what Tracy's parents and their generation call developmental education. The process of education taken seriously uses the stages of childhood development to determine the curriculum and the intensity of the subjects. As Tracy develops into a child around 3 years old, being a milestone in development, she will begin learning grammar with professors of their field. With classes consisting of one subject per day, her focus is not divided among multiple subjects. By having one focus per day, the system is allowing her to internalize and understand the subject rather than being flung from one to another, confusing her young mind. Along with that one subject, however, Tracy has hour-long recesses, or practicums, which consist of agriculture, martial arts, and music, all of which are community-oriented and instill responsibility and discipline at an early age, all important for her growth and maturity later on. Also, these subjects are more interactive and fun than the primary subject may be, allowing her to relax periodically will increase her willingness to learn and ability to stay focused throughout the day. The point being internalization and understanding rather than memorization and regurgitation. This is not an assembly line, not a cookie-cutter approach as commercial culture would have you believe is most beneficial to society. Once Tracy has graduated from childhood and reached adolescence, having learned the primary subjects of grammar, logic, and rhetoric, she will begin to learn more complex subjects, such as math at age 6, geometry at age 8, music at age 10, and astronomy at age 12. Her recesses will also be extended into new subjects, and her role in things like agriculture will be expanded with her ability. Tracy has begun at this point to understand her role in a community that knows and loves her and that she knows and loves. Once she has graduated from the stage of adolescence into young adulthood, her teachers are no longer professors of their field, but rather librarians, bringing information to her attention as she requested. Self-study will be the praxis of this stage of education. Responsibility for learning has gone from the school system to the young scholar. However, practical subjects like plumbing and architecture are integral to her independence as an adult. And her final subject, driving, will be a way to keep students interested in completing education because they will not be able to get it they will not be able to graduate without first getting their driver's license. However, just because she has graduated from young adulthood does not mean that Tracy has finished learning, and indeed the final stage of education is adulthood. And in that stage, she's able to explore the interior world of her own self. Different from college, adult education is absolutely free for all adults and oriented towards the free discourse of community and society. Thank you.
It goes by quick, doesn't it? All right. Thank you, Matt, for trying to hurry up there. I know it's tough. Our final speaker of the first section here is Julie Lenzer-Kirk. Julie is leveraging her experience as a serial entrepreneur to lead HCEDA's Maryland Center for Entrepreneurship, which is the MCE. The mission of the MCE is to ignite the entrepreneurial culture and bring together the entrepreneurial ecosystem across the state. In this capacity, Julie works with the businesses and entrepreneurs to help them navigate the waters of business success. She is also the co-chair of Startup Maryland. As a subject matter expert, Julie has been an author, public speaker, and consultant. She holds a Bachelor of Science in Computer Science and likes to laugh a lot. We got that in common, for sure. Please help me welcome Julie Lenzer-Kirk and get stuff done.
All right. Who the hell wrote that bio? All right, go ahead. When you're ready. All right. My name is Julie Lenzer-Kirk, and I have a terminal disease called GSD. It's kind of like STD. It's not like an STD. Like OCD. No, it's not like OCD. It's called getting stuff done. And I'm going to help you understand how to increase your GSD quotient, your factor. So this is one of the enemies of GSD, and as a mother of 2 teenage daughters, I am very familiar with this sense of entitlement. But how can we not feel entitled? You walk up to a door, and it opens for you. Siri, can you please wipe my nose? I mean, really, everything is about convenience. So entitlement you have to watch, but it's not really about what we get in this world, it's about what we give. And that's how we make a life. But the problem is we give too much. We give away our control and our power all the time. You don't believe me? Think about the last time somebody cut you off in traffic, and it really ruined your day. That jerk, you go into work and you tell everybody, that jerk just cut me off. Well, that jerk had no problem the rest of the day. They didn't even know they cut you off. You're now irritated, you're angry, you're frustrated, but you know what? We are not born that way. We are born with infinite love, infinite joy, infinite love for the world, and we give that away. We're also born with infinite power. We are born with the power to move mountains, but we forget that when we give that power away to other people. When they change our minds, they change our moods, they change our days by how we feel about that. So what you really need to do in order to get stuff done is that you've got to reclaim that power. You need to reclaim that joy. You need to unleash that energy that you have to move mountains. But first, you need to remember that you actually have that power. Even though you gave it away, you still have it. So you need to see yourself as powerful. You need to remember that. All right, now I want you to sing with me. And now when I count to 3, I want everybody to sing, I got the power. You ready? 1, 2, 3. I got the power. Oh, that was pretty lame. We're going to have to do that again. But the point is that you have this power. I've got the power. All right, come on. The slide's not advancing because I know my 15 seconds is up on that one. Maybe we need to do it again. All right. There we go. 1, 2, 3. There we go. See, that's what we were waiting for right there. Thank you. All right, so first step, you got to know and use your strengths. What are you really good at that's not illegal? What can you do in your sleep besides drool? You need to understand that if you don't know that about yourself, ask a colleague and find out from them, what is it that is your strength? And then build your A-team. Build a team around you that can help you with those strengths, those weaknesses that you might have. You know, find your role in here and then bring people around you that fill in the other roles that you don't have. The second thing then is to go ahead and build your path, but don't focus on the obstacles. Focus on your path. When you see an obstacle, go around, over, under, or through, but if you focus on it, what happens when you're driving down the street and you focus on a tree on the side of the road? What's going to happen? You're going to hit it. Focus on an obstacle, you're going to hit it. Challenge the status quo. And I'm not talking about society. You can challenge society's status quo, but challenge your own personal status quo. Don't tell yourself, oh, I'm not a planner. I said I'm not a runner. I got the right equipment. I started running 3 weeks ago. I'm now up to 2.5 miles. Forget about being popular, because you know what? It's not about popularity. Don't worry about what other people think about you. Just go out and do what you need to do. Don't worry if they like you. Don't chase the paparazzi unless you're really into that. But really, you need to focus on what you need to do, and then come together. So there's strength in numbers. I got a little popsicle stick here. One stick, easy to break, right? You get a couple of sticks together, they get a lot harder to break. Okay, I'm really weak. So you could try it, but when you come together, they're hard to break. The hardest step is the first one, right? Courage is not a lack of fear. It's moving forward in spite of it. So you've got to take that first step. And if Ron didn't convince you that it doesn't matter if you fail, who cares if you fall, right? We've all fallen. Some of us just a little bit louder and a little bit more public than others. You'll bounce. The point is, learn from your failure, as Ron said. And make sure you have a good community around to catch you when you fall and to help you get back up. This is important because the weight of a snowflake, if you think about it, is nothing from nothing. But a bunch of snowflakes together, they can break a branch. They can cave in a roof. And it doesn't matter where you are in that pile of snowflakes. You might not be the last one and get the gratification of seeing that branch break, but every snowflake's important. So, snowflake, what are you going to do? I want everybody to think about something that they're going to do, a little step they're going to take, a little new thing that they're going to do, and I want you to tell somebody at the break that you're going to do that, and then go do it. Because it's really important. You have got to go out and you've got to reclaim that power. You've got to take that step, and then you can get some stuff done. Is that great? All right, we're going to sing again. Now this time I want to hear you. All right. I'm going to count of 3, right? You ready? 1, 2, 3. All right. Thank you.
I told you that the majority of mistakes, if not all of them, would be ours, not theirs. So, a quick 15-minute intermission to go out and use the bathroom, and I think concessions might still be open, but come on back. We're going to be starting in 15 minutes sharp, and please stick around. Tweet some more. Thank you. So we have another sponsor this evening. I believe the sponsor is taking care of the concessions outside. It's Carroll magazine. I believe there's only been a few issues now. Is that right? Couple issues, one issue. There's like 10 years worth of issues. You didn't prep me at all, man. Should I Google it? Do you have a website, a Twitter account, anything? Help me, man. Advertise in Carroll magazine. See? She's getting business right now, whoever that is. There you go. Hey, come on up here and do this, right? That's right. It's a wonderful magazine. There's at least 15, 30 pages in every issue. Okay, joking aside, okay. Yeah, Josh isn't going to say anything, but please, let's give Carroll Magazine a quick round of applause for sponsoring our Ignite Carroll. Alrighty, I'm hoping that most everybody is is in their seats now. I see a couple back there, but hopefully there's some seats back there. So I think we're ready to keep rolling. Everyone had a great first half, I hope? Yeah? Thank you for all of the tweets. I've been replying and responding and retweeting. I appreciate it. Remember, it's at Ignite Carroll, hashtag Ignite Carroll, or me, I'm at Vince Buscemi. We have at AV Dawn and Mr. AV Dawn, who we'll be hearing from shortly. So first up, let's go to Mike. Mike Platt has owned his own insurance agency for over 34 years. He has earned the Chartered Property and Casualty Underwriter designation. That is the equivalent to a graduate degree in property and casualty insurance. He has been a member of Toastmasters International for over 10 years. He has recently founded 2 businesses, Advanced Speaking Know-How, or ASK, and Platt Insurance Education, pie. Those are in the notes you sent me, buddy. I'd like to ask for some pie. He is happy to share with you tonight what to do when an automobile accident occurs. Ladies and gentlemen, Mike Platt, when you crash, you crash. Good luck, man.
Thank you, Mr. Master of Ceremonies, fellow Ignite attendees. And when you crash, you crash. So what are you going to do about it? Well, you know, a lot of people don't know what you're going to do about it, and that's the reason that we're here tonight, to share some ideas with you. The first thing that you want to do is you want to pick up a phone and you want to make a call. You want to call the police, because if you don't call them, they might call you. You want to call your insurance agent, and you want to tell him what's going on. You might even want to call your family, because you know what? If you call and you say, "Hi, this is Mike, and I was involved in a little accident. We're sitting here along the side of the road," your family is going to feel better about it than if they got it third hand. It's always better to hear from your children, your spouse, whomever, than it is to hear from the hospital. "Hey, did you know that John is here in the emergency room?" You don't want to subject them to that. Make a call. And when you call, tell them when, tell them where, tell them what happened. As much information as it is possible for you to provide. Because when you're providing information, whether it be to the insurance agent, the police, or someone who comes to help you, you're strengthening your case. You're becoming more believable. And you're giving better information. So then what do? You record. How many of you have a cell phone that takes pictures? All right. If you have a cell phone that takes pictures, you can take a photo of the accident. And then you'll be able to pass that on to whoever wants to know about it. Record the name, the address, the type of vehicle. Get the name of the owner and the name of the driver, because they might not be the same. And if the owner and the driver are not the same, that means you got 2 people to sue. Let's hear it out there, all of you who are attorneys. I know you like multiple victims. 2 people to sue. All right. After you've recorded, you've got to be aware, and I'm a slide behind, but it's because my story is good. And I know that you'll agree that it's good. After you've recorded, you'd better be aware, because what do you want to be aware of? The conditions of the road, the damage to your vehicle, the damage to the other vehicle. You might even want to get out and walk around and talk to people. If the guy's wife said, "Hey, dummy, you know that was a 35-mile zone, and you were doing 60, isn't that interesting information?" Hey, you know, there is a stop sign there. Why didn't you stop? Well, because I didn't feel like it. Ask questions, get information. And you know, one of the things that you might do while you're walking around and looking is smell. No one ever thinks about that. But if the other driver reeks of alcohol, you want to know about it, don't you? What do you not want to do? You don't want to argue. You don't want to call names. You don't want to point the finger. Just get the information and give it. Because the time will come when you will need to give a statement. So one of the earliest calls that you make, and as an insurance agent, I can relate to this, call your agent. He's going to tell you whether or not you've got road service, whether or not you've got car rental. Are you in fact covered? Well, be aware of the fact that you have to stop. It's mandatory. You need to render help if that can be done. You know, it's not illegal to offer a kind word. And since I think that we're about to run out of time, I want you to remember with me these 5 great letters. CRASH. Call, record, be aware, stop, and help. Because if you don't, there are consequences. Fines, license removal, incarceration. All of those things could be part of your life if you don't do it right. If you need to file a claim, call, ask the agent, ask intelligent questions, you know, not like, was my payment due a month ago and I forgot to make it? You'd be amazed how often I've heard that. Or, hey, did my insurance cancel in December? Yeah, it did, and you're not covered now. I hope that I've given you a few ideas of what to do when the time comes. Mike Platt, Platt Insurance Education. Have a good evening.
You did it. We were all worried about you. He did it. That was great. You said I was 1 slide behind. It was 2 slides behind. Then 3 more happened. That was awesome. Mike Platt. Give it up one more time. Nice. Nicely done. This is Ignite Carroll. It's raw. This is great. All right. Having fun. Now, we have another Ignite veteran. This comes from Ignite DC. Glenn Howman, DC's own Mr. Cranky. Glenn's been a founder, a funder, a tinkerer, a breaker of things that work, and a fixer of things that break. He spent 10 years working as a hired gun turnaround CEO for venture capital investors, where he became very intimate with corporate missteps and failure. He writes for Tech Cocktail, the Washington Business Journal, and on his own blog, Forward Thinking. You can learn more about Glenn on Driven Forward's website. He is a Global 100 mentor at the Founder Institute, a board member at the University of Maryland Dingman Center for Entrepreneurship, Vistage Chair, and former Vistage Rookie of the Year. Glenn's presentation is What a Cranky Old Man Learned About Love, Life, and Social Media from Match.com. Glenn, ladies and gentlemen.
You know, before we start slides, I want to say I really am a Ravens fan, and I rooted for the Ravens against Washington. And for reasons, you know, I rooted for them against Washington in that game. And I just want to say, as soon as Daniel Snyder became the owner of that team, I became a Ravens fan. We're not starting that timer, right? Because this is it. Okay, so this is the story. 50% of the marriages in America fail. And in 1980, I flipped that coin, betting on heads. Guess what? Came up tails. First person in my family to go through a divorce. My parents married 50 years. I had to go to them and tell them I was getting divorced. This was the first time I'd ever seen my father cry. The first time. And that tore me up. I mean, this man had gone through the Depression. He was a grizzled World War II veteran. He's married 50 years. His son's getting divorced. Why was he crying? And then it came to me. He didn't know you could do that. says in my notes, leave time for laughter. So there I was in a totally new world. I mean, I was 25 years away from my last first date, and this was a new world. You got to remember, when I was out dating, this is how we dated. I mean, we struck the pose. And we had a lot of options, you know. If you wanted to meet a woman, you could go to a bar, or you could really get creative and go to a different bar. That was it. What I found was we had all these choices. It was crazy. There was Match.com. You could fill out forms. They'd pick a date for you. You could date Muslims or Christians or Jays, whatever they are. I mean, there was a whole dating thing. And in a lot of ways, things had gotten better. I mean, it was a better system. It was more efficient. It was highly targeted. The people there had opted in. You weren't going up to bother people who weren't there to date. It was a lot better. But in some ways, there were some issues. They really were. I mean, sometimes people would show up in the world 15 years after they showed up online. And I realized, wait a minute, there's something going on here. There's a different language here. And you needed to understand it, because in the real world, this means curvy. In Match, this means curvy. So I got used to that world. I started to learn it, and then I looked at some of the things that were happening. For instance, women used to say things like, I'm 42. Well, they were 42 5 years ago when they ran in a marathon. In this world, lying, the life cycle of a lie has completely shortened. It's gone. You can't lie. You can't get away with it. And you need to be authentic. People would say, I am so funny, and write the worst, most boring profiles. If you're funny, be funny. People would say, my friends say, well, why don't your friends date you? And then I learned some tricks, you know. You would send notes to women, it would be like spam, they'd ignore them. So there was a thing in Match where they could tell you looked at them. So I would look at a woman, I'd look at her again, I'd look at her again. She'd write to me, she said, hey, what's wrong with me? And I started to realize these are not just dating rules, these are new world operating system rules. We've changed. We've gone from jungle drums, world 1.0, publishing to social media, and you need 5 rules to operate in world 3.0. Here are the rules. First of all, you got to spell things right. Your characters need to not disappear. Your pants burn hotter and faster in world 3.0. So no lying. 2, your reputation matters. You got to protect it. And it's not a PR issue. It's a product management issue. So Dan Snyder, if you suck, you can't PR your way out of sucking. You got to manage yourself out of sucking. You got to unsuck. When you follow these rules, you're dealing with great conversations. You're not digging in the garbage. You're working with you're having meaningful conversations with people. And therefore, it's much more efficient. Rule 4 is, you can talk about yourself and brag about yourself all day, but your body of work really says who you are. You leave breadcrumbs all over the place in this world. And lastly, what you have to do if you want to do business, be a person in this world, is you need to be the pretty girl at the dance. It's all about getting somebody to ask you to dance. So when a good-looking woman asks you to dance, she's an 8. You have to ask the same woman to dance, she's a 10. Get people to ask you to dance. Follow these rules. I met Nancy 5 years ago. We married last year following these rules. We got companies who are very successful following these rules. And we've got a lot of dictators in the Middle East who didn't follow these rules at their peril. Thank you very much.
We will somehow get the proper slides with fonts. And in the video, I'm so sorry to Glenn. It's my bad there. When you change laptops and PowerPoints, weird things happen, and I do apologize once again. All right, next up, we have Cindy Parr. Cindy Parr currently serves as the Executive Director of Human Services Programs of Carroll County, Inc. Prior to coming to HSP, she worked as the Director of Administrative Services for Carroll County Government. Her 30-year career has included private and public sector experience in the field of communications. She has been a freelance reporter with the Baltimore Sun, Warfield's Business Record, and the Carroll County Times. She has also worked contractually for Carroll Community College and as a senior writer, editor, and audio-visual specialist with Lockheed Martin. Tonight, Cindy is presenting Hands That Help. Please welcome Cindy Parr.
I can't believe I'm following a Match.com presentation. That was hysterical, by the way. I loved it. Maestro, music, if you please.
Games.
These are our hands, and within our hands, we hold the power to move mountains. Each night here in Carroll County, there are more than 100 men, women, and children who are homeless. 100 men, women, and children with no place to call home. These are our hands, and with our hands, we can help by reaching out. With our hands, we have the power to change lives. Our homeless in Carroll County are men, women, youth, and families who do not have a fixed, regular nighttime residence. Our homeless in Carroll County have no place to call home. They are those who come from all walks of life, and they've fallen upon hard times. And for whatever reason, our homeless lack the resources to obtain what they need for permanent housing. Our homeless here in Carroll County are not what you might expect to see. They're not just single men and women. They're families like this with young children. Unfortunately, the number of homeless families here in Carroll County is growing. Just last year alone, nearly 70 families were housed in Carroll County shelters. During that same time period, 193 Carroll County students were homeless. Homeless being defined by those awaiting foster care, living in shelter, staying with other families, living in hotels, or just being unaccompanied youth. And our unaccompanied youth are youth that are adult ages 18 to 23 years. And this is the fastest growing population of homeless in our county. We have a seasonal cold weather shelter here in Carroll, and it's open from November 15th through March 31st. And just last year in this particular shelter, we realized an increase of numbers of the unaccompanied youth. In this shelter alone, the cold weather shelter, there were 27 young adults. That was twice as many as the previous year, twice as many that used the cold weather shelter. These are our hands, and our hands can help. How, you ask? Well, we can help by working together through collaborative leadership to make a difference. What exactly can we do? Well, we can work together, and we can be a conduit that increases access to stable and affordable housing. And what more can we do? We can work together to help increase economic security that leads to self-sufficiency, and we can do this through workforce programs. And yes, there is more that we can do. Together, we can improve access to health care that leads to one's overall personal stability and well-being. And there's more. We can provide supportive housing prevention services that keep families, children, and individuals in homes. And by keeping them in homes, we can keep them off the street. These are our hands. And we need to be aware. We need to be aware of the many things that our hands can do. Our hands are able to build the foundation. They are strong and capable of doing what needs to be done to make a difference in our community. With our hands, we can bring about change, the change that is necessary to bring hope to those whose lives sometimes seem hopeless. Together, we can use our hands to create a path that will lead us onward and upward to ending homelessness, the homelessness that exists here in Carroll County. Thank you.
Thank you, Cindy. I'm going to reveal a little secret with the presentation there. I hope you don't mind, but those images were not bought from my stock photo. Those came from Carroll County. All of those images, those are real people in real homeless settings here. So it's a fantastic message that we all really need to get behind. So thank you again, Cindy. Okay, next up, Harry Mead, a good friend of mine. Harry has been involved in competitive bagpipe bands for almost 30 years. His dad got him into the pipe bands when he was very young, and he's been around it his entire life. He's worked up from playing snare drum through the ranks, becoming the lead in a local mid-level grade band. In 1998, he switched to a high-grade band out of Washington, D.C., the City of Washington Pipe Band, and was a member of the band when they won the World Championship in their division in Scotland in 1999. After that, they were upgraded to the highest division, where they continued to compete in North America and in Scotland, scoring as high as 11th in the World Championships. When he's not, in 2011, he went back to being in charge of and teaching local mid-grade pipe bands, Macmillan Pipe Band out of Rockville, Maryland. And in 2012, they were second in their division on the East Coast and plan to compete in Canada in the North American Championships this year. When he's not competing in bands and touring the world, he is an audiovisual systems engineer for 15 years, recently becoming a project manager with Vision Tech Services, contracted through T. Rowe Price. Harry is presenting bagpipe bands. They're not just for St. Patrick's Day. Harry Mead, everyone.
Okay, go ahead. Okay, my name's Harry Mead. I'm the drum sergeant, which means I'm in charge of the Macmillan Pipe Band of Rockville High School, in Rockville, Maryland. I'm a local teacher and not a public speaker. When people think of Scotsmen, they might think of these two fellows here. They're more caricatures, really, with the excess plaid and the old-timey Renfesty type uniforms. But then you look at pipe bands, and most of the pipe bands that you see in the parades, they've got the big hats and the kind of impractical, uncomfortable uniforms, and they seem more focused on the look than really the sound. Then you have the world of competitive pipe bands. Competitive pipe bands have a very regimented structure where you start out in a block, you go up and you form a circle, you play your selection for the judges, and then you get off the field. There's three components of a pipe band: the pipe section, the mid section, and the snares. Pipe section has a minimum of 5 players, all playing in unison, we hope. The mid section, with the bass drum and tenor drums in the middle, is more tonal, and the snares are the loudest part. The pipe section, The pipe instrument has 4 reeds, which makes it very susceptible to heat and moisture problems, which makes it wonderful for the summertime in the Middle Atlantic. The midsection usually has 1 bass drum. It's the heartbeat of the band. It's tuned to match one of the drones of the pipes. Then the tenors, which are tuned to match the melodic tones. And you also have the flourishing that goes on. Snares. Snares have a top head that's made of woven Kevlar that's stretched very, very tightly across the top. Feels like you're playing on a tabletop. It's very loud, and we can play thousands of notes in a single performance. Grading structure. I mentioned that we made it to grade 1. Most bands start out at grade 5, which is more of the parade speed, and move their way up through winning and accomplishing things and getting more experience. The lower grade bands will practice once a week, about 2 hours at a time, and half of that time is spent in sections trying to work out how they're going to play before they get together, and it's more social. In grade 1s, you're practicing twice a week, especially during the season, for 3 hours at a clip. Less sectional, more together time, and it's very much highly focused type A type people. Some competitions that are around, you may have seen regional Scottish festivals, that sort of thing. The pipe bands are usually over in the corner because the emphasis is on the festival, not on the band competition. So there's a lot of vendors and dancing and athletics and lots of things that we're not paying any attention to. They've got mass bands at the opening and closing where all the bands get on the field at the same time. Usually about 15 bands. Highest is usually a grade 2, but mostly grade 3 and below. Then you have the North American Pipe Band Championships in the first weekend of August. Ontario, Canada. 65 or more bands going at the same time. They have some athletics. They also have a dance championship, but it's mostly bands. It's held over 2 days with a solo and band competition going on, up to 4 separate competition circles going at the same time, far enough away so that they're not playing over top of each other, with 50,000 spectators. Draws mostly North American bands, but it's drawn some from Scotland as well. As many as 20 of the grade 2 bands that you don't see at many of the regionals, and as many as 5 of the 8 grade 1s in North America, and it's 9 hours of competition. Then you've got World Pipe Band Championships in Glasgow, Scotland, a couple weeks later. 250 plus bands, 7 competition circles, very few vendors, over 25 grade 1 bands. The grade 1 bleachers, you can see there, that's morning qualifiers, can seat up to 2,000 people, and they have multi-camera for DVD and BBC streaming. So there's people like us that get up at 4 o'clock in the morning and watch World Pipe Band Championships. They even have oh, we're already here. I've played for presidents. And Rod Stewart. Toured around the country with Bonnie Raitt out and helped record an album. And also played for Sean Connery at the Kennedy Center Honors in 1999 and almost caused his death when he was dancing in the balcony up on top. So there you go.
I have a confession to make. I have competed in grade 1 pipe bands with Harry, competing in Glasgow and the North American Championships. I even opened for Rod Stewart a few times. Lots of fun stuff, yeah. Toured around with Bonnie, a lot of fun. All right. Here we go. We're at the end. John Wheatman, our final presenter tonight. John has been a Carroll County resident for over 20 years. He is the Administrator of Operations and Small Business Development for the Carroll County Department of Economic Development, and he's an attorney. Much more fun than that, though. John is hockey director at Skate Frederick Ice Sports, where he has the privilege of sharing the ice with amazing kids 4 years old and up as they learn about life through the great game of hockey. John is presenting everything I needed to know about life I learned from hockey. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome John Weidman.
Josh, I got stuff. I'll be right back. I tried to make it easy when I need to give you a break to get started. I'm ready. Okay, maybe 35 years of playing hockey didn't teach me everything. There's still plenty of things I don't get, like women's clothing sizes, honey boo boo. But hockey has taught me a lot. You start with a fresh sheet of ice and you get an occasional resurfacing. So what have I learned? First, focus matters. You need to be clear about your objective. During a game, it's focus that lets you concentrate on your job while your teammates concentrate on theirs. I learned that if you get knocked down, you get up. If you get knocked down again, you get up again. Hockey players don't quit. The true measure of a hockey player is not how many times he gets knocked down, it's how many times he gets back up. Hockey taught me that teamwork and support are necessary for excellence. Hockey's a team sport. No player does it on his own. There are no scripted plays, no huddles. 6 players on the ice must work as one while dealing with whatever comes. Your greatest obstacle is often yourself. There is no opposing player that can shut you down the way that you can shut yourself down. If you think you can't make the play, you're probably right. If you think you can make the play, you're probably right. A team requires all types: scorer, playmaker, backstop. A team of scorers won't win. A team of playmakers won't win. A team of goalies definitely won't win. Diversity based on character and skills is what makes a winning team. I know from hockey that you get out of the game what you put into it. Great players invest in themselves and take responsibility for their own development. You've got to practice like you want to play, because in all likelihood, you're going to play like you practiced. You will face giants. You will always be facing someone bigger, faster, stronger, sometimes all three. Golden goose, singing harp, hockey puck, they always seem to want to be taking something from you. The secret is a giant is only as big as you let him be. I learned from hockey that no team worth playing gives you an easy path to the net. You must go over, under, around, or through the opposition to win. Pick one, and then give it everything you've got. I learned that those who excel are those that adapt. Small movements make the difference between being a player delivering the check and a player being checked. The best are those who can think faster than the game is being played. If you're not having fun playing the game, you're doing it wrong. Every shot, every pass, every save, every check, everything should be done with fun in mind. The bonus, your skills actually develop better when you are having fun. It's okay to lean on someone. You'll need some leverage from time to time to maintain or gain position. You'll need a break from time to time. Be willing to let someone lean on you too, but maybe not your competition. Each new game should be met with youthful exuberance. Each new game should be an opportunity for excellence. Each new game requires a bit of the child's eye. Each new game should be played like it's your last. Learn from the experience of others who have played the game. They learned from those who played before they did. Take the knowledge and expand upon it. Then be prepared to share what you've learned with those that follow you. Pass it on. I learned from hockey that if you never fall down, you're not trying hard enough. Gliding on your skates is safe. It's easy. Pushing your edges is not. Embrace every fall, because failure is one heck of a coach. Accomplishment makes you feel 10 feet tall. Enjoy the feeling, internalize it, get used to it. While winning isn't always everything, hockey has taught me that winning is a lot more fun, definitely much more fun than losing. Skate as hard as you can, not just as hard as you have to. If you skate as hard as you can, you arrive sooner with your options still open. If you skate only as hard as you have to, you reach the puck later with fewer options remaining. I've learned from hockey that great plays occur at the intersection of belief and probability and exceptional effort. Belief leads to exceptional effort. Exceptional effort is what makes improbable things possible. I've learned that if you can't shake hands with your competition at the end of the game, you've missed the point. Play fair. Know what else I learned? If your teammate punches somebody in the handshake line, there's going to be a really, really big fight. If you don't make friends on your team, you're wasting your time. Every goal scored, every pass completed, every play made. They don't mean a thing if they aren't done in the company of friends. So, thanks for listening. And as we say in hockey, game on.
Wowzers. It's the end of the night. Does anyone else want to present something? Because I don't want to go home right now. I don't know about you, but I'm having too much fun. Thank you. Thank you all very much. Most importantly, our sponsors, Carroll County Economic Development, Carroll Magazine, and our organizers, the Carroll Tech Council and my education committee. I cannot thank you guys enough. But most importantly, I really want to thank the speakers. Can we please give them one more big, big round of applause? It's a lot harder than you think to get up here, and you guys made it seem easy. So I want to thank you very much for sharing your passion, sharing your stories, and sharing your life experiences with us. And I hope you had so much of a good time that you're going to tell all your friends about it, and that you're going to submit your own presentations at our next Ignite, because we're going to look towards Ignite 2, August 1st of 2013. Save the date. It's not totally locked in yet, but we're looking, we're shooting for that date right now. So it gives plenty of time for everyone to find a presentation that they want to give. We'll be sending out a lot more information through the Carroll Tech Council website. And also on the Twitter account. So please tell all of your friends how much of a great time that you had tonight, and I hope you do come next time, bring friends, and that you also submit an Ignite presentation. Thank you for making Ignite Carroll the first a great success. Thank you and good night. Hi, how's it going? It's Vincent Tracy again. We just finished up with Ignite Carroll. It was amazing. So educational. It was inspiring. We had a fantastic group of presenters. There was a lot of humor in it. There were some really thought-provoking things. Everyone has been raving about it so much. I think it's about time we announce it. We're going to do a second one this summer. Stay tuned. Hit us up on Twitter at Ignite Carroll, hashtag Ignite Carroll. Check out the Carroll Technology Council website. Thank you again to our sponsors, Carroll Economic Development Center, Carroll Magazine, and of course the Carroll Tech Council. So thanks again. Good night from the Carroll Arts Center here in Westminster, and we'll see you next time at Ignite Carroll 2.
Good night.